Hi. Hey. Hi. It's me, your Void, and I'm being brave and making reading plans for next year. So, all of these videos about the 25 books to read in 2025, well, in this case, 26 books to read in 2026. And even though I had a really strong reading year this year, how often can I say the word year? I don't feel confident enough to call out 26 books I will definitely 100% read next year. Well, kind of, because this one is going to be a 12 books I'm planning on reading in the coming 12 months video, except it is not necessarily just 12 books. So what I have here is a list and a bunch of books that I'm going to show you, and I'm going to tell you why I want to read them next year. Let's get into it. Starting off strong, a while ago I said I am kind of soft DNFing this series because I couldn't find the other books in the series. So I said, okay, soft DNF until I get my hands on it. Well, call me a liar because I then like 2 months later proceeded to get all of the ebooks of that series, but I have not touched the series since then. I am talking about The Thousand Names by Django Wexler. I want to reread The Thousand Names by Django Wexler next year, and I actually want to continue with the whole Shadow Campaign series this is kicking off, because I have them all as ebooks now, and it's a 5-book series and I want to read all of them next year. But this is the big kicker. This is the start of the series, and this will be a reread for me, but it has been about 7,000 decades since I read this. It's probably going to be a really fresh read in terms of rereads. I still have my old, you can barely see it, I still have my old tabs in there. I have no idea what I tabbed. I think it's mostly world building stuff. I don't know. But yeah, I'm very excited to read this because this is a flintlock fantasy, and there are not many actual flintlock fantasies out there. This one is actually more flintlock than fantasy. It does take place in a completely fantasy world, but the whole magic stuff does not come in until the end of this book. I have no idea how strong it will be in the books following this one because I only ever read this one. So I am excited to see where the series is going, and I'm very excited to reread this one. Next up, we have a internet favorite, I guess, with Jade City by Fonda Lee. I resisted the urge to get it for the longest time because the setup was never really my thing. I love me an urban fantasy, but usually the urban fantasies I read are modern, like contemporary setting, and then add some magical element to it. But as far as I understand, this is a complete fantasy setting. It is just a very modern one. I don't quite know, but people love this shit apparently. Like, the whole trilogy is a very beloved thing on the internet, and I bit the bullet and I thought to myself, yeah, why the fuck not? So I got myself J City, and I really want to read this. I will not put the entire series on this TBR, if we can call it a TBR, but I will definitely try to start the series with Jade City. Next up has to be the most hated pick ever. Like, I hate this with a passion, which is exactly why I put it on this list. So I have someone, you, to hold me accountable for this, because I said eons ago that I would read book 2 if someone sends it to me. And then James proceeded to send the book to me with the stipulation, hey, you have to read it and you have to vlog it, because apparently my hate for this book is incredibly entertaining. So yeah, I am talking about Apprentice to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mara. I hated Assistant to the Villain. It was a book that I wanted to burn multiple times while reading it, and I desperately hoped it would get better, but it never did. It is very much a bunch of TikTok skits glued together and then someone filled in the holes with bad character development, if we can even call it bad character development. I hated Assistant to the Villain with a fiery passion, and I said I will not read book 2 unless someone gives it to me. I did not want to spend money on this, and I didn't. James sent this to me and said I need to record my experience going through this. So this is it. This is me telling myself I am going to make this vlog in the coming year. It is going to be a vlog only reading this book because I'm pretty sure I'm going to hate this even more than the first one. I am not looking forward to it. Another internet favorite, like this, I saw this floating around a couple of years ago, and now it had some kind of resurgence for some reason, and this resurgence leads to me wanting to be part of it, so I'm going to read the Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. I know she is not from Germany, but that name, that last name, I always want to pronounce in the German way, which would be Stiefvater, which means stepdad. It literally, like, her last name is literally stepdad. But anyways, yeah, the internet loves this book now twice in a row. Like, loved it a couple of, I think it was like really hyped when Lily Blue, like Blue Lily Lily Blue or something came out, and then it was quiet because the series was over, and now it kind of came back and everyone's reading it and everyone's loving it. I have also been warned that this is kind of weird and you kind of need to read the whole trilogy in order to get your head around it. Or is it 4 books? Is it 4 books? Is it 3 books? I don't know. You have to read the whole series for it to make sense, but yeah, I need to start the series in order to continue the series. So this is on this list here. This is another one of those where I have not read it before, so I only put the first book on here because I don't know if I will like it enough to continue with the series, but yeah, the first book definitely on the list for next year. Next up is another book that I hate myself for because this, but I have to put it on this list because if I don't give myself some sort of accountability, some sort of peer pressure, I will never read this for so many reasons. Because book 1 was not a good book. It was really not a good book. But I had fun with it. I had fun hating it. It's one of those books where you read it and it's just so whack that you just keep going. It's like the Scream movies or Sharknado. You know, you're not there because it's a literary masterpiece. You're there because it is so whack that you need to know what's happening next, because you cannot tell what's happening next because it's so whack. The other reason why I need some accountability for this is because this is the largest book I have. Like, it's the largest book I own. It is almost 1,400 pages long. I am talking about The Stone of Tears by Terry Goodkind. Goodkind. I don't know. This is book 2 in the Sword of Truth series, and it is so big. This is all Bible paper. This is incredibly thin paper. Like, look at the flop of this. I can kill someone with this. This is extremely heavy. And book 1 was a ride, and I expect book 2 to be another kind of ride, but I really want to read it because A, again, it was so bad, it was funny, and B, I am a fan of the TV show they made out of this. The first season has nothing to do with the first book, basically. Like, they are light years apart. And the show is also kind of bad. It's kind of bad, but it's like the 2010 era of bad fantasy show, so it is actually kind of funny. So yeah, but I don't know. But yeah, if I don't give myself any kind of like outside pressure to read this, this will just sit on my shelf and die there. But I really want to know what's happening because apparently season 2 and book 2 are so far apart from each other. I want to know what kind of weirdness is in this book, considering the kind of weirdness that was in the show. So I'm putting this on here. This, I'm probably going to regret this decision specifically. And no, I'm not putting the other 10 books in this series that are all this long on the TBR, no. The next one is Bittersweet, because I'm putting on this TBR A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. I have already read A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. I also have read the book 2 in this series, and I almost finished book 3 in the series. And that is why I'm putting book 1 back on this TBR. Because it has been literally 5 years since I almost finished book 3. I literally have 100 pages left to go. It's the final 100 pages of book 3. And I stopped at a point, at a very specific point. I remember the point very vividly because I stopped there because I was scared of what was going to happen next. And I didn't want to read about it. I did not want to read about what was going to happen next because I knew what was happening next and I did not want to experience it. So I put the book down in summer of 2020 and I have never looked back. But now V.E. Schwab has cursed me to suffer because there is a second trilogy coming out, so I have to read it. I have to read those 100 pages, but it has been 5 years, so I kind of want to reread the whole series beforehand to get the whole emotional punch and reacquaint myself with everything before finally reading the last 100 pages. So technically, I'm putting the last 100 pages of the third book on this TBR, but yeah, it's the whole trilogy. I try to read the whole trilogy of the Darker Shade of Magic series next year. I'm already scared. And then for something lighter, I put Naruto on this whole thing because it is now being published in these massive volumes in Germany, and I was the biggest fan of the anime, and I have a couple of manga volumes of the later seasons. Like, I have 7, 8, and then 45 to 54. My manga shelf is over there, which is very strange. I started collecting the later volumes because the anime was not up to date in Germany. Like, the German translation wasn't up to date, and something happened to one of my favorite characters, and I was like, no, I need to know what's happening next before next week comes around, because what do you mean? So I then went and bought the mangas to find out what's happening. So that's why I have some random ass Naruto volumes, but I never actually read the whole series. So yeah, I plan on collecting them, and I plan on reading the whole series because it is such a defining thing of my childhood, so I want to read the entirety of Naruto. I'm not putting the entirety of Naruto on my TBR because that would be excessive, but I at least want to read the first volume of this and then maybe some others. So you might see a lot of Naruto next year from me. Now I have a couple of ebooks. I think all of these are also internet favorites at one point or another. The first one is The Sword of Kaigen by M.L. Wang. Everyone in the fantasy sphere loves M.L. Wang, specifically The Sword of Kaigen, and I finally want to know what the hype is all about. I have it. It's just a 600 plus page book, and that is kind of intimidating, so I never really just grabbed it and read it. But now I'm writing it down on this TBR. I'm reading it next year. This is me holding myself accountable. I'm going to read The Sword of Kaigen. Same goes for The Mask of Mirrors. People say it is incredibly good, and I do own it. It's just a very big book and therefore very intimidating. Also, I have both of these as ebooks, and I tend to forget about what ebook I own and which I don't, and yeah. It's not an object I can visually perceive unless I look for it, so it doesn't exist until I look at it, okay? Not my fault. And then we have a series. This is another moment where I put the whole series on my TBR, but it also starts with a reread. I'm putting on my TBR for next year Initiation by Alethea Faust, which is the first book in the Sex Wizards series. You have heard me preach about the Sex Wizards series multiple times now, but I never actually read more than one. I do have book 1 Initiation, I have book 2 Mastery, I have book 3 Championship, and I have the chonker book 4 Odyssey. And I really want to read them. I just never got around to them. So I will reread Initiation, and then I will read the rest of the series. And maybe, just maybe, if Alethea Faust figures out the plot of book 5, I am done in time for book 5 of the series, which would be very exciting because I'm very excited for that to happen. Apparently, certain characters are not behaving the way they should, and we need to rewrite perspectives over and over again until they work, and they refuse to work so far. I put a manga on here. I also have to put a comic on here, and the comic I'm putting on here is 8 Billion Genies. This comic is basically what if every single person on this planet gets a genie to fulfill their wishes. You can see where this is getting complicated, right? And I just think that simple concept is so intriguing and so interesting. I want to see where this comic is going. I had this on my radar for like 2 years? A while now. This has been on my radar for a while now. And I just think that the idea is so good. Like, you can do so much with that idea. And I want to know where they took it. So I want to read it. And the final book I'm putting down for this 12 in 12 but not quite 12 video is another reread to finish out a series. I'm putting on this TBR One Dark Window by Rachel Gillick simply because it has been a second and I really want to read Two Twisted Crowns by Rachel Gillick to finish out this duology. I had this on my shelves basically since it came out. I just never picked it up. And at this point I think I need to reread book 1 in order to get the vibes right for book 2. So I'm putting both of these on my TBR. I will read the duology in 2026, and then I'm probably going to move on and gush about The Moth and the Night like everyone else. Can I lift this without dying to it? Is the question. But there you have it. This is kind of my 12 and 12 TBR. It's at least a huge part of it anyways. This is incredibly heavy. But yeah, that is my 12 and 12 TBR, plus some extras, I guess. And I guess you have to come back next year to see if I actually made it through all of this. If I don't read any of the books I put on this TBR, this is not a self-destruct video. These books will stay with me unless I absolutely hate them. I'm probably going to throw Apprentice to the Villain down into the sewers or something, I don't know. But technically they should all stay on my shelves if I read them. If I don't read them, whatever. And yeah. If you made it to the end of this video, let me know what are some of the books that you really want to read next year. If you need an accountability buddy, I love to bully people into doing the things they said they would do. And if you don't want to talk to me, leave the classical book stack emoji down in the comments below. And yeah, I guess I will see you in the next video. Bye!